Hi families, your child is in our reading intervention program and they're using a program called UFLI, which includes with it some take-home materials that can be sent, will be sent home, and you're welcome to use them if you would like to provide your child with extra practice at home. So the packet will look kind of like this, and it'll come home probably about twice a week, and it has an instructional page and then 2 student pages. There will be a story, and then there will also be a list of words that they can sound out. All right, so I'm going to go over the instructional page here just to kind of explain what will be sent home. And this will look the same every week. It's just that the words will change. So in this box, these are the words that the students been working on in those lessons, words with that same spelling pattern. So these, I believe, are short I words. They should be able to read and spell words like this. Down below, these are sight words that your student has been practicing. Again, these are words they should be able to read and spell. The hearts underneath the letters mean that's a part of the word that can't be sounded out. So they have to learn those parts by heart. They have to memorize that part of the word. Over here, you have sentences. Again, these are examples of sentences that your child should be able to read and spell, so you could dictate the sentence to them for them to write. Also, there's a word work section up here. The top part is the actual activity, and then the bottom, underneath, they give you some directions on what you might say to help your child work through that activity. So I'm going to explain and model a few of these activities so you can see them. All right, so this one's pretty self-explanatory. So these words here in this box, these are words you could write on flashcards. You could say them and have your student write them. Just words that follow that same similar pattern. Same with the sight words. For the sentences, you could say this out loud and have them spell the sentence. You could also write this on a separate piece of paper and have them read it if this is too small. Really, this is the activity I really want to show you because it's a little bit confusing, this word work chain. So I'm going to show you that right now. So what it says is, well, first of all, what you can use for this is, I've just got a whiteboard here. You can just use paper, regular old paper. Basically what students are doing is building words. So especially if you've got a very young student or a very beginning reader, this is just note cards. What I would suggest is not having them write the word if they're still learning their letter sounds and things, but having them spell it. I don't have magnetic letters here at home with me, so I'm just going to use an index card cut in half. So with that, I'm going to write the letters for the words. So number 1 says they're going to build the word rip and then change it to lip and then change it to sip and then sit. So I'm going to need the letters to make those 4 words. So here I'm going to kind of zone this down so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to make an L, an I would do this ahead of time before I worked with my child, and a P. Let's see, looking at the words on the paper, I'd also need an R, an S, and a T. So you could easily do this with anything you have at home. If you have magnetic letters at home, that's even easier and fun for the kids. All right, so you'd show them all these letters. Here, I'm just going to kind of put them out in front of, move this down a little so you can see it. I'm just putting the letters in front here. And I'll say to the child, make the word rip. And this is exactly what's written on this paper right here. So I'm just reading it right off there. So make the word rip. So then they're going to find the letters. Ip. Change the R to L. So now they're going to look for the L, change the R to L. What word is this? And then they read their new word, lip. Change lip to sip. So now this is a spelling activity. They need to know what letter they're going to need and which letter they need to change. So they're going to change their L to the S for sip. Then the last one says, number 4, change the P to T. What word is this? Sit. Oops, sit. So now they have to read that new word they've spelled. So this is the activity with, you could use magnetic letters. This is just little note cards I wrote the letters on. You can also do the same thing with whiteboard or paper. So you could tell them, make the word rip. So they would write rip. Change the R to L. So they can actually erase the R and change it to an L. What is the new word? Lip. Change lip to sip. So now they have to know what letter to change and what to change it into. Sip. So you kind of get the idea. Another way that you could do it, if you don't have a whiteboard at home maybe, is just plain old paper. So this is just one of my kids' old notebooks that they didn't need anymore for school. So here, markers are fun for kids to use, so I'm just using a marker. So I'd say, make the word rip. So they can write rip on their notebook. Change the R to L. So here I can't erase, so I'm just going to write the word again. Change the R to L. My new word is lip. Change lip to sip. So now they're going to write the new word, sip. Change P to T. So now they're going to write the same word, but change that P to a T. What is the word? Sip. The nice thing about this way of doing the activity is at the end, they can read the words they've spelled. Rip, lip, sip, sit. So this is just a word building activity, and it helps students become more flexible with sounds, and it helps them to read more fluently. The next thing I wanted to show you is there's 2 activities that are coming home. The story and the word list. Oh, there we go. All right. So this one is just a roll and read. So basically the main point of this is just having them practice reading the words. So you roll the dice, you get a dice. I forgot to grab one, so I don't have one here with me. But you get a dice, and whatever number they roll, let's say I roll a 2, I need to pick one of the words in the 2 column that I want to read and color. So I might pick, let's see, in my 2 column, hip. So I'm going to color in hip. Grab a very good marker. I don't want to color over the word for you. So they have to read hip. Now they're going to roll the dice again. Let's say they get a 4 this time. Now they pick any word in the 4 column to read. So maybe I'll choose this one. It says pig. Ooh, let me get a different marker. It says pig. So now they're going to color in this box and read the word. You kind of get the idea? You could play it a few different ways. They could try to get, 5 in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I guess, in a row. You could try to go diagonal, kind of like tic-tac-toe across. You could do a blackout where they're trying to get everything on the board filled in. Once you do this and you've used it up, you could play it again as a spelling game. So they roll a dice and you pick a word and they have to spell it. So there's a lot of different things you could do with this. The main purpose is they're practicing reading words with the phonics pattern that they've been learning. And then the last thing I want to show you is the story. So of course, reading the story over and over lots of different times. Not necessarily a ton of times in one day, but periodically throughout the week. This has the phonics skill in it for them to practice. One other thing, it's got the empty space on top. They've already read this story in class by the time it comes home. The top is for them to illustrate a picture of the story. That helps with comprehension to make sure they know what's happening in the story. And then on top, it will tell what the skill is. So this skill is short eye review, CVC words. And if you're not sure what that means, you can always look at the word list that came home. It's words like this. So words that have a short I in the middle. So then what they can do is, as they're reading, they can go through and look for words that have that skill. Like the very first word I see is gill. So as they're reading the story, they can go ahead and color the words that have the skill. Gill has a big pig. His, so these are all words that have the short I. Pig is, oh my goodness, all of these do, is in its big pen. Not this one. This one has an E in the middle, not an I. So you kind of get the idea. They can go through and color the words that have that skill. The main part of this is that they're practicing their reading and they are getting more fluent and automatic with their reading. Another step to this is you could take the story after they've read it a bunch of times and you could take a sentence out of the story and dictate it to them. Just say it out loud when they're not looking and have them practice writing sentences. So all of the sentences in the story should be words they can sound out. So for example, I'm just going to get a new piece of paper here and I'm just going to read one of the sentences and then show how the student would write that. So you'd have the paper and you might say, let's see, one of the sentences says, "The pig can dig in the mud pit." So then you'd have them repeat it. The pig can dig in the mud pit. Sometimes it's hard for kids to remember all of those words. It's hard for me sometimes. So in class, we draw boxes to help remember the words. The pig, let's see, I got to count them first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 words. So I'm going to draw 8 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now this is a longer sentence than we usually do in class. But, all right, so then you have them practice repeating the sentence. Can they remember it? The pig can dig in the mud pit. And for a long sentence like this, it's fine if they can't remember it. You'll just repeat it. So then you'll ask them how it starts. The pig. So then they would start writing the pig. They're probably going to have to sound out p-I-g. The pig. It's important to have them keep repeating so they remember what they've written. The pig can and dig. The pig can dig is the word we're on. So d-I-g. The pig can dig in the. So now and also make sure they're leaving spaces between their words. In the. You want spaces between the words. So now we repeat again. The pig can dig in the mud pit. So now I need mud. D. Leaving a finger space. P-it. All right, so that's a really nice sentence for them to write. Things to remember. They need to remember that a period goes at the end of the sentence and a capital letter at the beginning of the sentence. If there's any names in the sentence, like this story has Gil, it would be appropriate for them to capitalize those names as well. So just some ideas of things you can do with your child at home with materials you probably already have. So Happy reading at home. I hope this helps families, and let us know if you have any questions. Thank you.